Sir, nakamute ka po.
Okay, sorry. So the factors of negative 10x squared plus 5x are negative 5x and 2x minus 1. So dito ka, mag-inspect ka na dito sa dalawang ito. Nakita natin na itong negative 5, this is positive. So negative times negative, positive times negative is negative. Pwede na kayong dumiretso sa ganun. So ito naman, positive times positive is positive infinity. Positive infinity magpe-prevail kahit i-subtract mo pa yung 1 na yan. Okay? Kaya ang nangyari, itong dalawang signs na naiwan, negative and positive, okay? Multiply mo, magpapakita na si negative infinity. Or kung gusto mo nang kahit hindi mo to ipakita, kaya sabi ko sa inyo dun sa performance task ninyo, if you choose not to show the entire solution, kasi I really I am anticipating na baka magkamali kayo sa encoding kasi the way I do, well, I'm not perfect on encoding. At times, I just saw my errors. Ganun ka sensitive kasi class ang pag-encode ng numbers. And bear with me if there are times, tawag dito, typo errors, but that's not frequently seen. I mean, 1 or 2 typo errors, and the probability of committing error really is there. Or whatever we do, I'm 99% confident. Sabi nga, so there's 1% probability of committing error. Okay, something like very statistics. Okay, so here, negative 5x, so pwede ka mag-direct inspection, negative times positive infinity. And dito naman, 2 positive times positive infinity. O makikita mo na kagad that this is positive, this is negative. So negative versus positive, multiply them. Prevailing is negative. Kaya ito, negative infinity. O, pwedeng ganun na lang gawin mo para kang nag-ano ka lang. Tawag ito, nag-araw-araw ka lang. Okay? Para makita mo kung ano yung final. Okay? Number 3. O, ito. Ito, sensitive ito. No? X cubed minus x raised to x squared. Or x squared. Okay? Well, sensitive in the way that if you do direct substitution, magpe-prevail ito. Pero kung papansinin mo class, since you are now aware that x cubed is always greater than x squared, most especially that x keeps on increasing. So it means to say, dahil mas malaki ito, kaysa kay x squared, magpe-prevail itong si x cubed. Siya ang, okay, mas mabilis siya mag-increase. Mag-increase siya kahit na mag-increase pa yung x squared. So parang lalamunin niya lang ang x squared kasi ganun kalaki. No? Ibig sabihin, the greater value of x cubed. However, by process, you can factor it out, bring out x squared, and bring out x minus 1 because these are the factors of x cubed minus x squared. Squaring positive infinity, ayan siya, is positive infinity. And x will just copy positive infinity because that's identity rule. So positive infinity minus 1 remains to be positive infinity because the constant does not give any effect to the infinity or the behavior of a function, no? Either addition or subtraction. Wala siyang epekto. Kaya nag-prevail pa rin positive infinity. Now use the multiplication rule for infinity. That's positive times positive is positive infinity. Okay? Ulitin natin that sixth root of negative infinity is never be true because we don't include negative infinitely decreasing numbers. So definitely you have negative values for a radical function with an even index. Even ito for, kaya tatanggapin niya ang positive infinity. Okay? Pero pag odd number yan, positive or negative, tatanggapin niya. Okay. So these are the things you need to understand when it comes to negative infinity and positive infinity rule. By inspection, you should always take a look into the possibility of prevailing this indeterminate form. Dahil kapag hindi naman daw siya magpapakita class, ang ibig sabihin nito ay you can do direct substitution or katulad ng mga previous examples na ganyan. Okay? Now, to check if you understood this topic about addition, subtraction, and multiplication, kasi ang next natin ay division. And to check really if you understood when will it be indeterminate or when will it not be indeterminate. Okay, let me give you 3 items and I want you to provide your answers as quick as possible. You have, again, you comment A if it's negative infinity, B if it is positive infinity, and C if you have a real value, then comment the real value. Okay, quick check lang ito. Tingnan natin kung naintindihan niyo nga. Let's have number 1, number 2, and number 3. Number 1, what is the limit of x raised to 11 minus x raised to 9 as x keeps on increasing? What is the limit of 1/5 x raised to 8 plus 1/7 x raised to 6 as x keeps on decreasing? And number 3, what is the limit of negative 33x minus 22x squared as x keeps on increasing? Okay, so comment, let me change this one, as x keeps on decreasing. Comment A if that's negative infinity, B if it's positive infinity, and if you have a real value limit, then comment the real value. Let me give you 15 seconds to provide your answers. Okay, so sagutan na natin. Nakikita ko ang mga sagot ninyo and I see a variety of answers. And let's check if you got the correct answer. Okay, it's always good to try. And kapag math talaga, it's always worth trying because you will never know if you got it correctly or you still need to study more if you will not try. You should always try. Okay? Kagandahan nun pag nakuha mo yung tamang sagot mas nagiging confident ka. So nag-increase yung confidence mo just because of trying. And that is a good product of that trial and error method, no? Okay, so check na natin. So we have here the 3 options and on your third quiz, you will always encounter these options. And until finals, kaya nga ang reminder sa inyo is remember that positive infinity and negative infinity can also be your options when you are solving for limits. Okay, number one, this is positive infinity. So, ang namang mapapansin dito, magiging indeterminate ito, di ba? Pero pwede mong i-factor out ang x raised to 11 minus x raised to 9, where this will become x raised to 9 times x raised to 2 minus 1. So by inspection, itong si x raised to 9, magiging positive infinity raised to 9. Tapos ito namang nasa pangalawa, magiging positive infinity raised to 2 minus 1. So walang epekto si minus 1. No? Kasi ang mangyayari, constant lang din siya. And so si positive infinity raised to 9 is positive infinity. And multiplying na siya sa positive infinity. Square of positive infinity remains to be positive infinity. Minus mo sa 1, that remains to be positive infinity. So the final answer is positive infinity. Or by clearly looking into this one, makikita mo na kaagad na si x raised to 11 ay mas malaki kay x raised to 9. So kung pareho sila nag-increase, sino sa dalawa magpe-prevail kung i-subtract mo ang difference nila? Ito ang magpe-prevail. Kaya it remains to be positive infinity. Siya mananatiling mas malaki kaysa kay x raised to 9 kung sabay sila sa pag-increase. Okay, number 2. Okay, tinan mo yung inspection. Negative ito, tapos ang exponent ito, even. So, ibig sabihin, the answer is immediately positive infinity. So, this is B, this is also B. By inspection class, ang kagandahan kasi ni even number, kokontrolin niya lahat. Alam nyo ang madalas na nagiging dahilan ng pagiging indeterminate? Kung wala sa operation na subtraction, nasa exponent. Kapag ang dalawang exponent ay even or odd, or sabihin na natin pareho silang odd number, magpe-prevail ang sign. Kung negative ang base mo, negative lapag pa. At minsan may epekto si operation. Kung subtraction yan, di ba, baguhin niya yung sign nila. No? Katulad din nangyari sa number 1, pareho sana silang positive infinity, pero nilagay ko dun, subtraction. So that negative sign really controls the positive infinity for x raised to 9, prevailing an indeterminate form. No? Itong number 2 naman, by inspection, kitang-kita mo, plus pa yung ginamit, and x raised to 8 pa, x raised to 6 pa, parehong even numbers. So, nag-enjoy lang si negative infinity. I-raise mo ang isang negative sa even, will always be positive. The answer for number 2 is positive infinity. Oh, ang galing, no? Kukuha nyo. So, number 3, nakikita natin by inspection, negative times negative. Kasi nga, negative times negative infinity ito. Ito naman, magkakaroon ka ng negative times negative infinity raised to 2. So this becomes positive. This is negative. So in number 3, nagpapakita ang indeterminate forms. Medyo maingay ang mga ka-apartment ko dito, no? Kasi limited face-to-face. Ang ingay nila. Kararating nila. Anyway, parang meron silang conference. Okay, so here we have negative and negative is positive and negative. Ito kasi magiging positive ito class, right? Kaya nagkaroon ng negative. So it falls under indeterminate forms. This becomes indeterminate. So mag-factor out ka, maglabas ka ngayon. Ano yung pareho sa kanilang dalawa? Pareho silang may x because both are divisible by x. And at the same time, you can see that 11 can also be brought out. However, no, constant naman kasi class, minsan kahit iwanan mo na yung constant, okay, maging sensitive ka lang sa sign na may iwan. So if we're going to bring out now x, then we have x times negative 33 minus 22x. So what will happen here? Yung x na ito, maging negative infinity on the limit process. And itong si negative 22x, negative times negative infinity. Ay, oo. So this becomes, okay? Yan, close natin. Ulitin ko. X, itong dalawang factors, kunin mo na ang limit of x as x approaches negative infinity is negative infinity. And the limit of negative 33. Ito, ulitin ko class, sa pagdating sa constant, kung constant na lang siya, good as, tanggalin mo na ito. No? Kasi wala na siyang epekto. Constant na lang siya. Pero maging conscious ka kapag isa pa siyang numerical coefficient, okay? Or attach siya sa isang function, then may kakayahan siyang baguhin ang sign ng function. Anyway, negative 33 is already separated. Di ba? Okay. Kahit masakit separated, may epekto pa rin siya talaga on the final value. So you have negative 22x will now give you negative kasi nga if follow this negative sign, and 22 times a negative infinity is remains to be negative infinity kaya negative ito. So kung negative times negative becomes positive, this will become positive infinity. So isulat natin. So negative times positive is negative infinity. That gives you A as the answer for number 3. The answer is negative infinity. So to generalize, therefore, it really needs to have your to recall your ability, to recall the ways on how to factor out this kind of numbers or functions, the factoring technique. And to give you a clue in factoring, usually you just need to follow the lower value of the exponent. So parang ito, finalo mo lang to, x raised to 9. So siya yung ilabas mo, x raised to 9. What else? Ito number 2, no need for factoring technique. May I repeat this one? Baka mamaya na-factor out kayo ng factoring. Factoring kayo ng factoring pero hindi nyo napansin na hindi na naman na kailangan. Tulad ng number 2, baka bigla-bigla, ay ma-factor out ako, labas ko yung x raised to 6. No need class kasi nung in-inspect mo ay hindi naman na-apektuhan, hindi naman nagkaroon ng indeterminate forms. Itong number 3, you have to be sensitive because when we did the inspection, before we provided the answer, we were able to identify that positive infinity and negative infinity indeterminate siya in the rule of addition. Adding the similar is indeterminate. Or in subtraction, positive infinity minus positive infinity is indeterminate. Okay? Kaya number 3 is negative infinity. Is it okay? Do you have clarifications? Nakikita ko ang naging kayo sa number 3 lang. Medyo nalito kayo sa number 3. And I admire kapag you are telling your answer, even if it's wrong, then that's a sense of bravery as well and confidence that you're willing to accept as well kung mali or tama ang sagot mo. That's good. Do you have clarifications on this? Or shall we move now to the next? Just raise hand, click the raise hand button there kung meron kayong clarifications. For 5 seconds, let me attend to your clarifications. Okay, I think wala kayong clarifications. Now let's move to the most sensitive of them all, the division. But before we appreciate the rule in identifying in solving the determinate form for division, we need to understand first, as if we were going back to the introduction. Kaya nga, pag nagsosolve tayo ng ganito, bumalik ka sa basic. At ano ba yung basic? Sabi niya, yung 1 over x. Actually, sa kanya nag-start lahat. At ito yung introductory problem na ibinigay sa inyo kasi nga nanggagaling sa kanya ang iba pang rules. Now, let me proceed immediately to the shortcuts, no? Ang ibig sabihin nito, itong rule, let n be a positive integer. A positive integer class. Okay? Then, ito na yung pag ang nangyari daw ay kinukuha mo ang limit of 1 over x raised to n where n is a positive integer as x approaches either positive infinity or negative infinity, that remains to be 0. Yun na yung sinasabi natin, class, or yung sinasabi ko kanina sa inyo. Let me highlight this. 1 over infinity is 0. Kung ang denominator ay tuloy-tuloy sa pag-decrease, or if you have 1 over negative infinity, or kung ang denominator ay tuloy-tuloy sa pag-increase, they remain to be 0. Okay? Yun ang sinasabi niya. Okay, so that's it. That's how we understand it. So 1 over infinity is 0. Now, and if f, ito na yung condition. If n is even, okay, class, and pumasok naman dito yung isang radical function na denominator. Kapag ang n daw ay isang even, ang limit daw ng 1 over nth root of square root of x, as x approaches infinitely no positive, is 0. Bakit naging 0, class? Ang ginagawa lang naman nito, ito kasi, ang gagawin niya, inspection lang ito, class. Tingnan niyo yung ginagawa kasi nito. Ang sabi ng rule kasi, kapag ang n daw ay isang even number, ang gagawin daw ng 1 over nth root of square root of x, habang ang x ay tuloy-tuloy sa pag-increase, will become 0. And you know the reason, class? Because nth root of positive infinity is positive infinity. And what will happen next? Ilagay mo yung positive infinity kay 1 over nth root of x. That becomes 1 over positive infinity. At anong sabi natin on top? That 1 over infinity is 0. Kaya ito naging 0. Ito siya, kaya ito 0. Yung ni-breakdown lang natin yung sinasabi ng nasa taas na rule. That remains to be 0. And the only reason for that, because the denominator will keep on increasing without bound. And so with this, when n is odd, bakit kaya si n even? Kapag si n ay even, hanggang positive infinity lang siya, o na-explain ko na yun, class. There's no such thing as nth root of negative infinity when n is even. This is never be true. Why? We do not accept radicals that are negative or decreasing numbers. Negative values, specifically. Kaya nga tinan nyo yung rule, pakiramdaman nyo yung rule. Pag nagbabasa kayo ng ganito, you should always take a look into the condition. Napaka-powerful ng conditions, class. Never ever review na parang 1 over nth root of square root of x, nth root of x. Tapos 0 yan. Without even knowing na ano yung n. Kapag may variables, laging may description. Tandaan nyo yan. Yan ang basic sa math. Kapag may variable, ano siya? Kasi nga ang definition ng variable, nagre-represent siya. So kapag nagre-review kayo ng formula, ano ang sinasabi ng variable? Ano ang nagre-represent niya? And we always have if conditions in your logic. Okay? So if n is odd, then you can actually make use of positive infinity or negative infinity as the movement of x. Yun ang sinasabi nito. And it remains to be 0. Why? Because 1 over positive infinity and 1 over negative infinity in the rule of limit is 0. They are approaching 0, class. Yun ang ibig sabihin, kaya that remains to be 0. Isn't it very powerful and very interesting to know? No? That's it. Yun ang sinasabi ng rules nito. O ngayon, kapag may rules, ibig sabihin, pwede na silang magsama-sama. So kapag lumaki, no, lumaki ang sinasabi ng given function, you always go back dun sa rule. Kaya tinanan natin yung examples. O ito, this lead to another possible shortcut, sabi niya. So ito siya. Tingnan natin yung number 1. O, positive infinity. This is positive infinity. Ano man ang exponent mo, odd or even. Ano man ang index mo, odd or even, when that is positive infinity, then that is accepted. And 1 over positive infinity, 1 over infinity is 0. Okay, may nilagay ata ako dito na may negative ganyan. Ay, wala. Okay. In number 2, okay, since this is 7 and that is odd number, it accepts. So this is negative infinity. 1 over negative infinity is 0. Okay, tinan nyo yung number 3. Yung 3x plus 1 will infinitely decrease when x keeps on decreasing. Kaya ito negative infinity, 1 over negative infinity. At lahat sila pare-pareho. Ang hindi ko pala nailagay dito na hindi ko napansin, okay, pansinin natin ang number 5. Dahil ang number 3, 4 ay pare-pareho na ang ginagawa nila. Ang number 5, you have to be very conscious on the combinations of these two. Tinan nyo ito. Itong unang term, 1 over 7th root of x plus 1, ay magiging 1 over negative infinity because x here keeps on decreasing. And 1 over negative infinity is 0. Tinan nyo yung nangyayari. And this x here is identity, so minus x. So when x keeps on decreasing, x does the same, or y does the same. So that becomes negative infinity here. Negative times negative is positive, kaya ito naging positive. At ito naging 0. 0 plus infinity is positive infinity. Okay, o ito naman, number 6, this becomes 0 and constant, so 0 minus 1 is negative. So, ang clue dito, it may appear to be difficult, class. It may appear to be difficult. Kahit damihan natin yan. Halimbawa, pinasolve sa ito, 1 over x. 1 over x squared. 1 over x raised to 3. As x approaches positive infinity, what is the limit of that? 0 lang sagot dyan, class. Bakit? Kasi 0, 0, 0. Ibig sabihin, your answer is simply 0. You have to be simply conscious on that. O ganun lang. Kahit naman makikita nyo sa mga assessments nyo or even entrance examinations on big schools, usually they love giving questions that appear to be difficult pero hindi naman talaga, no? Nagpapakita lang siyang difficult, nagulat ka lang, overwhelmed ka lang, pero hindi. Yes, I think someone is raising his hand. Yes, you may speak now. Arugay, I think.
Yung number 4 po.
Okay, anong tungkol sa number 4?
Yung 0 plus 3 po.
Ay! Oo nga, no? Yes, that must be 3. This must be 3. Okay, all of this will be updated sa no. That's good. Will be updated. Mga typo error. That must be 3. That's correct. Okay? So what else? Okay. So ito yung tendency, class, na kapag 1 over infinity or at the same time, class, kahit ano man ang exponent mo, basta ano man ang denominator, basta hindi siya 0. Let's say, for example, a over infinity. In general, where a is non-zero, this is non-zero. Hindi siya 0. Magiging negative siya or positive. Will always be 0. So kung halimbawa you have 5 over infinity, yan 0 yan. You can have negative 8 over infinity, 0 pa rin yan. Or negative 9 over infinity. What else? That remains to be 0. 1 million, ano man yan. Let's say 1 million 1 over negative infinity. That remains to be 0. In general, yan ang sinasabi niya, class. For whatever is the numerator, for as long as the denominator keeps on increasing or decreasing, the numerator is constant. So, madaling salita. When the numerator is constant, and the denominator keeps on increasing or decreasing, that remains to be 0. Yun ang ibig niyan sabihin. Okay? So already 9. 9.5 na. Iba ang kwento naman nito, class. Iba ang kwento naman nito. Ano ba ang sinasabi nitong rule? Okay, let's take a look at this. These rules are also helpful in evaluating the indeterminate form. So ito siya. So minsan, nagagamit natin yung rule ng pag-0. Yan, nagagamit daw natin ito para mabilis din natin ma-solve yung indeterminate form ng infinity over infinity or infinity minus infinity. Ito yung ginawa natin kanina, infinity minus infinity. So katulad dito, number 7. By inspection, makikita mo dito that this becomes negative infinity because this is even, this is odd. Ito naman, negative times negative infinity becomes positive infinity. This is positive infinity. So ano nangyari? Plus, plus, minus. So plus, minus. So ito ay indeterminate. Di ba? By quick inspection. Ito si negative, si minus 6 or negative 6, wala na siya sa attention mo kasi constant lang siya. So, ibig sabihin nito, pwede ka daw mag-factor out wherein ilabas mo ang x raised to 5. Bakit natin pinili ang x raised to 5? Una, kasi ang gusto natin mangyari ay ipakita natin ang denominator that is increasing or decreasing. Paano tayo nagkaroon ng x squared dito? Si negative 3x raised to 3 on the second term here ay i-divide mo ang x raised to 5. Tanggal ito. So, mababawasan nito, magiging minus 3. So, magiging negative 3 over x squared. Yun yung nangyari dito, class. Baka inahanap niyo kung paano nangyari. Paano nangyari na nagkaroon ng x squared dito, x cubed, x raised to 5. That is simply by division. Kasi nga na-factor out ko. Nilabas mo nga ang x raised to 5. So, i-divide mo ang x raised to 5 sa lahat ng terms. 2x raised to 5 divided by x raised to 5 is 2. Kaya 2 lang ito. And the remaining, nagpapakita na ang mga fraction form. At makikita mo dito, class, na kapag kukunin mo ang limit ng mga ito, dahil ang denominator nila will keep on increasing or decreasing regardless, dahil constant naman ang numerator nila, lahat sila ay magzi-zero. Yan Kaya ito, 0 lahat yan. Itong tatlo ay naging 0. At si constant remains to be 2. Ang abangan mo na lang kay constant, kung negative si constant, may kakayahan siyang palitan yung sign. No? And since positive lang naman ng 2, at kapag erase mo ang negative infinity sa 5, negative infinity lang din ang prevail. So the answer is negative infinity. You see the need now? Kanina, mga nakita natin, ang mga examples na na-provide ay mga binomial, ganun lang siya. Binomial lang ang mga yan. Pag trinomial na siya, or even more, nagagamitan na siya ng factoring technique with the use of 1 over infinity rule. Ito ang ginamit mo. Para i-zero niya lahat yun. Okay? Ang nagkaroon ng ganitong behavior. In number 2, makikita mo din ang number 2. For 4 terms siya. Polynomial of 4 terms. Okay? Nilabas mo ang x raised to 8 kasi siya ang largest. So 2x squared divided by x raised to 8. All of them, i-divide mo sa x raised to 8. What will happen therefore? Magkakaroon ka ng 2 over x raised to 6. X raised to 4. Nag-subtract ka lang. 8 minus 4, 4. 8 minus 2, 6. 8 minus 6, 2. Most definitely, yung last term will just simply constant negative 6 kasi negative 6x raised to 8 divided by x raised to 8 is negative 6. Ang mga ito ay magzi-zero lang. 0, 0, 0. This is negative 6. Kaya yan ang pakita siya. Constant, bring down, constant. Ito yung sinasabi ko na maging aware ka sa constant dahil kung isa siyang negative number, kaya niyang baguhin yung sign. Remember, negative times positive is negative. So a positive infinity raised to 8 gives you positive infinity, and positive times negative is negative. So ibig sabihin, yung buong function, as x keeps on increasing, then y keeps on decreasing. Ang response ng y keeps on decreasing. Kasi yun yung lumabas na infinite, na limit. So ibig sabihin, if there are questions like this, class, how does x respond to y? How does y respond to x if x keeps on increasing? Y keeps on increasing. Mga ganyan. Paano mag-respond? Because Y is the in is the dependent variable. Okay? It is the dependent variable. Minsan, kung anong ginagawa ng X values, nagdidepende lang siya kung paano naman siya gumalaw. Dahil ang kanyang values ay nakadepende kay X. Kaya usually ang mga tanong na ganyan how does it react? How does it react to the changes happening to X values? Parang ganyan. Parang pag nagmomotor ka din, when you are increasing your speed versus time, you would like to increase your time in biking. How should you integrate speed when it comes to time? Because they have their own relationship at all. Pagdating natin sa problem solving, makikilala nyo yung mga yan. No? So meantime, you have to be acquainted of the basics. Okay.